The Man in the Mirror, Episode 1. The sky thundered once again. Shielding her eyes, Kayleigh looked up into the grey sky as a trio of black helicopters tore over the river and sped into the distance. Ahead of them, she could see the plume of black smoke that hung over the horizon. Whatever had crashed had been big. She turned as the other ambulance sped past, racing towards the bridge to reach the opposite side of the river, escorted by a pair of military jeeps. Its sirens blared loudly, echoing between the terraced buildings. She watched it go, ignoring the gargles of people who mindlessly reached over the railings of the river walkway to try and take photographs of the disaster. They paid her no mind. What interest was a homeless 12-year-old compared to that? She sidled past them, heading for the overfilled bin, a short distance away.
Come on.
Grubby fingers worked through the cascade of discarded trash, finally clasping onto something that felt like a discarded sandwich, wrapped in greasy paper. In eagerness, she pulled it free, picking the worst of the filth from around the half-eaten roll, before taking eager bites.
What are you doing here?
She jumped, her heart racing as she feared being caught. Instead, she turned to see her brother, his disapproval etched over his face. He never could keep that expression long, and sure enough, the same cocksure grin broke through the sky.
Go away, Case.
Did you see anything up there?
Only smoking choppers. Too far to see anything from here, and the cops aren't letting anyone close.
Probably for the best. Rumour is it's some kind of cargo shop.
Obviously.
What did I tell you about eating crap like that? Here.
Where did you get chocolate? You didn't steal it, did you?
No, one of the thugs on the ground had it.
Had it?
Do you want it or not?
She gave no more objections, grabbing the treat from his hands and eagerly biting into it.
Thanks, Case. What's wrong? Is it raining?
She followed his gaze, curious to see what he was looking at as his attention drew skyward, but nothing seemed out of place.
No. Something wet landed on my hand.
Probably a pigeon.
No, it's on my palm.
Kayleigh was about to mock him, but no words came as her attention locked onto the air around her brother. Droplets of water the size of oranges were floating up around him, slowly rising like miniature glass balloons. Case 2 noticed, leaping from them in shock as the two of them watched the spectacle unfold. The droplets were few in number, but persistent, rising up from a small drain grill at their feet before being caught by the wind and dragged out across the river.
The hell?
Case, look, over there.
She pointed to the river's edge, the slow rise of more strange, glassy water balloons, ominously lifting from the water.
Stay here.
Wait.
Just stay there.
Gingerly, he made his way to the edge, peering over the railing.
What the hell?
Kayleigh did not wait for him to explain, rushing to the riverside to look down at the filthy muddy bank at the base of the walkway. Case was already rushing to the slippery stone steps that led down to the river, edging his way through the filth to the prone figure in white that lay over the grime. The man, if that was what he was, lay face down in the mud, head and body enclosed in a torn and battered grey suit. Strange, oily fluids leaked from it, rising in tiny spherical droplets that hung over him like suspended rain. Blood, too, hung there, tainting the veil in ominous crimson.
Get back. He could be dangerous.
What are you doing down there, then? We should get the police.
Come on. We need to get him out of the water. The tide's rising. Come on, help me.
She approached cautiously, wincing at the squelching feel of the muddy bank beneath her worn shoes. The figure groaned as Case tried to help him, and Kayleigh placed a gentle hand against his shoulder.
It'll be okay.
Looks like military armour. Spacesuit, maybe?
It's okay. Case, I don't know. I think we should get him to the bulk.
What? Why? He needs an ambulance, not a bloody bed and breakfast.
Please, help me.
Come on, Kay. Tide's rising. He needs help. Proper help. I'm calling an ambulance.
Something is wrong, Case. We should get him to Dad. He'll know what to do.
The feeling did not subside as she looked into the mirrored visor, watching her own filthy face reflected in the darkened glass. She frowned, recalling something told to her as she had not understood until now.
Case!
Shh, I'm on the phone. Hi. Yeah? I need an ambulance, please.
Case, we need to get him to the block. It's really important.
Damn signal just cut out. Look, he hasn't a problem, Kay. He needs proper help.
The lady on the 60th. The one I told you about. She said I'd find this guy. She said he'd help us.
The lady on 60th is insane. You shouldn't listen to anything she says.
She told you you'd find what you needed in the rain that didn't fall.
Damn signal. Come on. She says a lot of crap, Kay.
Look around. You need it spelt out anymore.
The water drops suddenly fell, cascading around them in a storm of rain.
Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Yeah, hi. Okay. Thanks.
What's wrong?
They said the ambulance is on its way.
You didn't tell them where we are, though.
They knew my name. I didn't tell them my name, did I?
Help me. Please.
Something isn't right here.
It's not our problem. We've got enough to worry about. Damn it.
His decision made, he tossed the phone into the river, repositioning to get a better grip on the strange man and pull him from the mud. Moments later, the car pulled up onto the narrow street by the riverside wall. Two suited figures emerged from within, each dressed in smartly trimmed business suits and shiny shoes that clicked with every step. The street was empty, all but for the overflowing bin ahead of them. Without a word, the two figures strode to the river's edge, peering out at the slowly flooding mudbank below. Only a rusted grate and an abandoned bicycle greeted them.
He is not here. The phone was traced here. There was no error. They must have moved on. Inform the others and keep watch for the boy.
Kayleigh held her breath, not daring to make a sound as she listened to the clicking steps of the men above the drain they hid within. The river water was still rising, and a fear grew in her chest that she would soon be trapped in the freezing waters. Case took her hand, squeezing it encouragingly, before he returned his attention up to the drain grill above them. The steps moved away, and shortly after, the noise of the car engine echoed between the walls of the alley. Neither of them moved, however, for one of the suited men still stood over the grill. After what seemed an eternity, he finally turned and walked away.
We need to get him back to the block. Dad don't know what to do.
Who the hell is this guy?
She looked again at the visor, its reflective surface catching the light oddly from the grill, and finally showing some indication of the face beneath the glass.
Man in the mirror.